Hey everybody, I'm Patrick and this is Rocky Mountain Style. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about the Thursday Captain, and more specifically, we'll be talking about the updated Kingmaker last that Thursday has recently rolled out as of August of 2023. Uh, Also, in solidarity with Thursday, I'm wearing my Keanu jacket, which I bought last year. I had the sleeves tailored because they were a bit long. So this is a great jacket. I like wearing it, so I figured I'd wear it for today's video. All right, so how did we get here? Well, Thursday reached out to me and asked if I'd like to do, some I don't know, research is not the right word, but testing on their new last, and then give them some feedback, and then be able to shoot a video and show you guys and talk about it as well. So I was happy to oblige. So I know there's several other boot YouTubers who have their Kingmaker last videos out already and have had them out for some time. I wanted to make sure I got a lot of wear on these before posting any videos. So I've been wearing these for the better part of the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I've worn them 20 some odd times to try to break them in and be able to compare them. So the one comparison point that I do have is with my 2-year-old pair of Thursday Captains in natural chrome excel. So as you'll see in the fit discussion, some of the comparisons between the info I have on the new last as well as the preceding lasts may not line up to the boot that I have from 2 years ago, because Thursday is constantly changing it. That's one of my big takeaways for this video is, Thursday's constantly tinkering with this, trying to make it as good as they can, which in one vein is pretty cool. They don't rest on their laurels and just say, all right, that's good enough. Let's keep it the way it is. They're constantly changing things, trying to make them better. But at the same time, if you really liked the way one of your boots fit, there's a chance if you buy a new pair next year, it may not be the same. So that could potentially introduce some frustration. So don't want to do too long of an intro because this video is going to be long as is. So there's going to be a couple different parts. So obviously there's the intro. Right after the title break, there's going to be an unboxing showing me unboxing these videos about a month ago. So I'll go ahead and throw the timestamp up here for when that is. So if you just want to skip forward to the unboxing, you can do that. After the unboxing, we'll talk about a fit discussion where I'll actually talk about my view of this and how it feels. And then we'll put up a timestamp to that. And then after that, I'm going to talk about comparisons to the pair that I currently have, which is a 2-year-old pair. So I'll show a little bit of differences, not only with the fit, but with some of the aesthetics, with how things are positioned and how things have changed over the years. I think it's a really interesting topic, since not many companies change their boots a lot. But yeah, so if you're interested in all things Thursday and all things Captain, stick around with me and we'll get into it. Okay, let's do the unboxing portion. I'll run through this a little quicker than my normal unboxings, since the point of this video is talking about the new last, the Kingmaker last, and how it feels. So of course, by the time you watch this unboxing will be a little bit old, since we are going to be wearing these around and giving our opinions of them. Looks pretty standard so far. All right, yep, get a normal Black Thursday box. Yep, black tissue paper. Each boot should be in its own individual plastic if it keeps with the others. Yep, they are. There we go. Okay. So again, Canyon leather. Got this particular leather because I have a belt in Canyon. All right. Yeah, it's a very, it looks black in this light. 1 second. I don't think that's going to have done much. Yeah, I'll be completely honest, not at all what I was expecting. It does not look like the leather on my belt. This seems much more uniform in color, whereas my belt is quite mottled and has a lot of different colors. It's not a bad color. It's a dark brown, but not a rich brown. It's got I don't know. It's almost like a dark stone of that color in a way. But yeah, again, looking at the video here, they look black on here to me. They're not black in person. You can tell they're brown, but they're very dark brown that's borders on blackish. So deeper channel looks like for the stitch, which is a good thing. Other than that, the sole looks the same to me as my old pair. All right. A little loose thread there, no big deal. Stitching looks pretty reasonable. Let's look at the welt stitch around. Okay, all right, let's go to the other boot real quick. And then we'll be done. So yeah, again, nothing extra, no extra laces, nothing like that. You know, when they hold the price point at $199 for however many years it's been now, you can't really expect extras. Okay, yeah, so the front of this one's, front of this one's a little more like I was expecting. You can see some of the color differentiation down through there that I thought we'd be getting in the Canyon boot. So, okay. All right, so that's it for the unboxing. Next part, we'll be talking about how they feel. And oh, that's all right, let's look here. All right, so that obviously is an error, right? That should not be stitched that way. Or so the channel, it looks like it ran off the machine and went there. So that's a QC issue. Doesn't look like it'll affect the wear. I mean, potentially long term because the thread's a little higher. You know, that could probably wear that thread out, but that, you know, that shouldn't affect the integrity of the stitch there. But there it is. So a little QC issue, a little bit of a I don't know, something right there. I don't think these have been worn before. That was my first thought when I saw that, but looking at the nubs, and I don't see any scratches on any of the places like here that you'd expect to see if someone actually walked around in these. So yeah, all right. So just a QC issue there, something to keep in mind. Thursday's customer service, in my experience, is phenomenal. I actually have had a QC issue before on a pair of major boots, which were the first boots I bought, and they refunded my money, let me keep the boots. So I ended up with a second pair of boots for free. So they do take care of their customers. I'll give them that. So when I see something like that, doesn't really bug me. It's annoying, but doesn't really bug me. There you go. All right, so on to the fit discussion. I apologize in advance. This part may be a little dry and a little boring, but I just want to get the information down. And, you know, this is sort of PowerPoint style. So if you need to pause it or if you want to come back and look at some of this stuff, if you're curious about things in the future, you can. So, known Thursday lasts. And this is a combination of what I've been told and what I was able to glean chatting with one of the co-founders of Thursday. So, from before June 22 to some undisclosed date, the last was called the True Last. My indications that I got are there have been other lasts before the True Last, so that's not the original Thursday last. Things change quite often. Then from June 22 to August 23, there was the RT3 last, and then finally from August 23 until current, of course, is the Kingmaker last. So here are a sort of a chronology of changes, again, from what I was able to get chatting with some folks at Thursday, and then again, what I was told. So the True Last, which was the first of the three we talked about just a second ago, was updated with a wider toe box, shortened a little bit, and given less instep volume. So where the laces are, where it touches the top of your foot, a little bit less volume there. So they changed the True Last to the RT3 Last with those changes. Then sometime in the winter of 2022, there was an undocumented change without a name that they were trying to just improve fit and wear overall. So someone I work with has a pair of these, and the toe box, when looking down from the top, is like a perfect, you know, half circle, pretty much perfectly round. So I'm calling it the rounder toe version. This wasn't on all boots. I've seen indications that this was basically only on rugged and resilient boots with regular soles, but not 100% sure about that. So then the Kingmaker last, which just came out, of course, so it reverted the instep volume change from the RT3. So that is, it increased the instep volume, basically making it easier to get the boot on and off and less tight on the top of your foot. And then increase the toe box width by 1.5 millimeters. And then took the toe again from that rounder shape back to a slightly more pointed egg shape that has been more classic in the past. So my major takeaway from this, as you see there, and I mentioned this in the intro, Thursday's always tinkering with their lasts to try to make it the best it can be. So if you've tried one in the past and you didn't like it, odds are it's different now. So, maybe go ahead and try it, try it again. And then some other changes on the Kingmaker last, and this also not only for the captain, but for the president, the Duke, and the legend. So they switched to using what is called true virgin cork. So if you don't know what that is, that's basically cork that's come right off of a cork tree and not really modified. So slightly more expensive than, I guess, non-virgin cork. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. But this is also true for the Diplomat and the Caso Moto. So those, as well as the four listed above, all getting the true virgin cork, a more natural material. And from what I understand, supposedly it feels better. I'm not really able to feel a difference, if I'm being honest. The toe shaping is aiming for a more masculine Americana aesthetic. So I have that in quotes because that's a direct quote from Thursday. Again, that's going back from the rounder toe to the slightly more pointed toe. Custom reinforced eyelets. So you can see those here. They are quite a bit beefier. Touching them, you can feel that they are thicker. They're slightly wider, and you can see there they're using a slightly different material. So, of course, on the top is the new boot, and on the bottom is a 2-year-old boot. One thing I will note, though, is if the tongue slides off to the side and you have this top eyelet, cinched in with the laces, and it's tight against your leg, it can actually cause some pretty uncomfortable pressure with that bigger eyelet. So, definitely something to keep in mind. And then also the stitch channel that's on the outsole, not technically a Kingmaker last change, but is something that has happened since the last time I had a captain in my hands for a new look, which I think is a great change. I think it makes the bottom look a little classier and should protect that stitch a little better. Okay, let's talk about the fit and just, in my opinion, how it feels. So one of the main things I keep hearing from people on Instagram or in comments here or just other places is that the captain's a narrow boot. I suppose there's a possibility that some of the boots that they've put out over the last couple of years may have been narrow, excuse me, as they continue to update things. My boot from 2 years ago is not narrow. This boot is not narrow. My foot, oh, there goes the laces. My foot's not wide per se, as in I don't generally need to go with any sort of E widths, but my foot's also not narrow. It's average to slightly larger than average. My Grant Stone Diesels I have actually are a 10E, whereas I wear a 10D in their loafers and things like that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I tend towards being wider than average, but still within that average category. These, as well as the other captains I have, aren't tight anywhere. These ones with their larger instep volume, they're extremely easy to get on and off. There's really nothing to complain about them unless you have an extremely wide foot, which some captains are offered in wide widths now. I don't think you're not going to have any issues. If you're worried about it being narrow because of just how it looks, because of the aesthetics, they've somehow figured out a way to make it, look narrow without being narrow. Not sure how that happens. I'm not sure what that really means, to be honest with you. But I guess the main takeaway is it's not a narrow boot. Break-in time was extremely minimal, and that's mostly because of the pour-on insole that they have, as well as the fact that it's not super hard veg tan leather everywhere, right? The interior, still lined with a pretty nice leather. I had no hot spots at all. The heel counter back there is now rough out. That's one of the changes that's been made at some point. So there's no heel slip. Again, no hot spots, nothing tight up here, no issues with fit, with mobility. And this sole that they have is a really comfortable sole. It doesn't make a lot of noise. So kind of a short fit discussion, but in my opinion, for my foot, which I generally wear 10D and everything, and this is a 10 regular or 10 normal, whatever they call it, perfect fit. I like it. It's extremely comfortable. It was pretty much comfortable right out of the box and continues to be to this day. Okay, finally hopping into just a comparison of a 2-year-old Thursday boot versus the new. So you can see here in this first picture where the toe cap is sewn in is lower. So bigger toe cap on the old boot, smaller toe cap on the new boot. I think the smaller one looks a little better on the new boot, if I'm being honest. And then as we go through here, I'm just sort of panning around showing the new versus the old. Not really anything specific I want to call out here, just sort of want to show a little footage. So if there's ever anything that people are wondering about, you can compare the the new and old, and then again there from the top you can see the difference in the toe cap. And then moving on to here, we're looking at the soles. The soles are shape-wise identical as far as I can tell. All the little nubs, the little rubber studs are in the exact same spots. They're in the same orientation. One interesting thing to note, my 2-year-old boot is wider than the Kingmaker in every dimension. I measured it, 6 ways to Sunday, and it most certainly is wider. So what that indicates to me then is that since the Kingmaker made the toe box 1.5 millimeters wider than previous lasts, like the RT3, that indicates to me that 2 years ago when I bought my natural Chrome Excels, they were a wider version. Then Thursday went back to a narrower version, and now they're going back to a wider version. So again, like I said earlier, if you have tried a boot maybe in the last 18, call it 12 to 18 months, and you thought it was too narrow, odds are it's going to be wider now. So if you like a Captain but it was too narrow, maybe give it another try. These pictures here are meant to show that the quarters are stitched higher on the old boot that I have. So you can see where the edge of the quarters is stitched in, where the bottom of the laces are. On the old boot, it was about, I don't know, 2 and 2.25 inches from the sole, I guess from the welt up to where that bottom right edge of the quarter is. And on the newer boots, it's more like 1 7/8 inches. So again, not a big change, but this is something to be aware of. Slightly different shape, slightly different look. Okay, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. There's a lot of information in here, and I know some of it can be confusing, but that's just kind of how Thursday's been. Fantastic company. I enjoy talking with all those guys and dealing with them. I hope to keep dealing with them in the future. I like the company. I like what they stand for. So if you have any questions, things I didn't cover, or things that might have been confusing, leave a comment and I would be more than happy to answer. If you look at my other videos, I really reply to every single comment. So yeah, hit me up, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.